podcast. What does it take to be the best in your area of careers or in your field? What does it take for you to be the best? Be it the clubs and society that you join, the technical skills that you learn through training, through, joining different workshops, that is in leadership, communication, interaction with others. How well do you become the best out of everyone of your class? So that is a conversation that we shall be having later on, how to navigate or how to become the best candidate in the market at this age where everything is at everyone's disposal. You can learn literally of anything in social media, Coursera, and all these other applications that you can go and get different certificates of different skills. So that is something that we shall be talking about later on. And joining us will be a dedicated engineer who went through IT, through communication, through clubs and society, an alumni of Kenyatta University, and he'll be telling us why all these things are important to every person who undergoes, the curriculum and is looking forward to get a job. Also this morning, being a Tuesday, we'll have the newspaper review, and we shall be reviewing what has transpired in the country. And this is what is shaping conversations in social media, in politics, in governance, everything in between. We shall be taking a look at the same and talking of state of the nation, or talking of a newspaper review. I have a different newspaper with me here this morning. To set us off is the Daily Nation, which is having quite a number of stories on their front pages this morning. We have a story in politics. They're talking of fresh divisions, Rock Oburu's ODM faction, and they're talking of queries after some senior party officials, including National Assembly Minority Leader Junet Mohammed, skip major Kisumu event. That's a story. More of that story is on page 10. And also they're talking of Ruto silent on Ebola. The High Court will today hear petition seeking to block the Kenya-US deal on the killer virus. So much has been talked about of what was said and what was not said during the Madaraka Day celebration that was witnessed in the northern part of the country. And also they're talking of President vows an end to exclusion of northern Kenya. This is still in relation to what transpired during the Madaraka Day celebration. And also something for you to note in relation to Ebola, still a story on the protest that transpired yesterday about the collaboration or the center that is to be developed. And that is also something that is given prominence right there on the front pages of the Daily Nation. Moving forward to the Standard. The Standard are also talking about the same story, and they've given prominence to the protest that occurred in Nanyuki. They're talking of Ebola Center. And they're saying Nanyuki town erupted in protest as furious residents stormed the streets to oppose proposed Ebola quarantine facility, paralyzing transport, forcing businesses to close, and triggering clashes with police and soldiers in a standoff that is fast escalating into a major political and public health controversy, despite government assurances that the facility and negotiations are above board. More Kenyans are preparing to demonstrate against its establishment. That is given prominence on the Standard. Moving forward to a different newspaper that you're having this morning is the Star. And the Star are talking of excavators roar as 272 billion JKI expansion begins. This is something that turned political a while ago, with some saying that the Uhuru government delayed this. And with the stories of the tender was given, the contractor was on site, and everything was ready to begin, but then the Uhuru government halted that. So that is set to begin once again, and a budget that is given is 272 billion Kenyan shillings. Moving forward to MyGov, which is a pullout from the Star. MyGov talking of Kemri steps up Ebola vigilance as country remains case-free. Still stories on Ebola. And the Business Daily. The Business Daily are talking of revealed how 90% of KPC top owners kept secret. That is on the Business Daily. Taifa Leo, they're talking of Rais ahepa Ebola Madaraka Day. And this is just in relation to what was not said, stories of what was said and what was not said during the Madaraka Day celebration. And the Taifa Leo has given prominence to what was not said. Not a single word about Ebola and the outcry of Kenyans was mentioned during the celebration. So finally, the People Daily. The People Daily are talking of Ruto's bumpy road ahead of 2027 beacons. This is in relation still to what transpired yesterday. And some may argue that the president is trying to get support from the northern part of the country, which for the longest time has been allegedly marginalized. And the People Daily are bringing this towards, or this conversation to be focused on the 2027 election. Now, across our borders, in Tanzania, gazeti la Mwananchi wanasema kwamba mapya tume ya jaji Lila. Pia wanazungumzia vuguvugu la mgomo madereva wa malori. That is another story that is given prominence gazeti la Mwananchi. Zanzibar wanasema kwamba serikali kuimarisha mifumo ya kidijitali. Wanasema kwamba wenye viti wa bodi wahimizwa kusimamia uwajibikaji. Those are stories that are given prominence on Zanzibar Leo. And in Uganda, Daily Monitor, they're talking of speaker budget grew 7 times. So it's not just a problem of living within our means that we are talking about here in Kenya. That is also affecting our neighbors. Hapa tu kando yetu, Uganda, and the speaker's budget is reportedly has been reportedly recorded to have grown 7 times. That is across our border. Still in Uganda, on a news vision, they're talking of inside IGG reports on Amang. Still on matters, the budget of the speaker. So those are the headlines that we are having this morning on the newspaper this morning. At this point, I want us to take a look at what is happening on the roads and, of course, the weather situation in different parts of the country. It is exactly 58 minutes past 7 a.m. and I'm looking at traffic. Those who are heading to town this morning to set us off. Traffic is just as we are always witnessing around this hour of the morning. To set us off is the Eastern Bypass, Utawala. Wala wanaotumia Utawala, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. That is from Naivas all the way to the junction. Is it Taj Mall? I don't know what the name is, but that's a junction joining Outer Ring Road as you head towards Mombasa Road. You are going to be staying on the road for quite some time. And those people using Jogo Road, this day you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Wale watu wa Buruburu pia, you'll be staying on the road for quite some time. And as they join Mombasa Road, just at the entries of the tributaries joining to Mombasa Road, this involves areas around Nyayo Stadium. If you're using areas, those routes, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Wala watu wanatoka kule juu Nairobi West, Madaraka Estate, kule kutoka Strathmore, Riara, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. So if you're coming from Upper Hill, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. All the roads are around. Is it around or across? All the roads around Uhuru Park, if you're using either of them, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Wale watu wanatoka kule around Sarit, you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Those people who are coming from Lavington, Kileleshwa, Kilimani, this day is also not good for you. Also, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Areas around the Junction Mall, you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. So traffic today is quite heavy compared to other days. And finally, I wouldn't forget to mention those coming from Thika Road. Today is not as thick as it always is, but from KCA University all the way to Pangani Interchange, you will be staying on the road for quite some time. These other parts of the road, traffic is moving quite freely but slowly. So as you move, it will be moving. If you get to KCA, you'll be staying for quite some time because it's moving slower. And also those people coming from areas around village markets, you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. So that is of traffic update as of 8 a.m. this morning on this second day of June 2026. Now let's take a look at what the weather is in different parts of the country. Just to begin with areas around Nairobi, Kiambu, the temperatures are quite chilly. We saw it was raining, and in Nairobi right now it is 17 degrees Celsius, and in other places it is raining. So it feels like 17 and it's raining. It will be raining or drizzling until 10 a.m. and that is also expected. Rains are also expected as it was the night of today from 2 a.m. all the way to 5 a.m. or around 7 a.m. through the night. It will also be raining. So this night it will be raining. Is it the night of 3rd? Yes, it will be raining in Nairobi until 7 a.m. And in Kiambu, they're also witnessing a similar situation. Right now in Kiambu, it's also raining in most parts at 60 to 50% chances. And the rains are expected to be continuing for the better part of the day throughout the day. So in Kiambu, rains are expected to be witnessed in most of the areas. Moving forward to the Lake Victoria, around regions around the Lake Victoria, we have Kisumu. Right now it's 20 degrees Celsius. It feels like 24 degrees Celsius. They're expecting precipitation of around 40% from that is around 1 p.m. to around 5 p.m. So there'll be 30 to 40% of chances of rainfall in Kisumu today. And in the coastal part of the country, we have Kilifi. Right now it's 27 degrees Celsius. It feels like 30 degrees Celsius. And there is a 40% chances of precipitation in Kilifi. 20 to 40% chances of precipitation. So in some areas it will be raining, and in some it won't. So that is in Kilifi County. Moving forward to the western part of the country, let's take a look at Kakamega. Right now it is 17 degrees Celsius and rainfall is expected. It's likely to begin raining from 8 a.m. this morning, and that is of 30 to 60% chances of precipitation until noon. And then that will be resuming from 2 to around 6 p.m. So it will definitely be raining from 2 to 6 p.m. in Kakamega today. So if you're in those areas from around 2 p.m., prepare yourself or brace yourself for the same. For the northern part of the country, we have Isiolo, 21 degrees Celsius. It feels like 24 degrees Celsius. Chances of precipitation are also at 20 to 20%. And from around 3 p.m., there's 70% chances of precipitation in Isiolo. So in most parts of the country this morning, it will be raining. That is just a sample of the central part of the country, the western, the coastal, and the northern part of the country. So let's see what the Kenya Met Department giving us as an overall view of what will be shaping the weather from today, the second. The Kenya Met Department also talks of the same chances of precipitation in most parts of the country to be rising above what we saw last week, and they're saying rainfall is expected over a few areas in the highlands, west and east of Rift Valley, the northeastern region and the coast, with enhanced intensity expected along the coast. So according to the Kenya Met, rainfall is expected to be higher in the coastal region compared to these other areas where they'll be receiving moderate to high chances of precipitation. So that is on the weather and traffic update as of 8:05 a.m.
Kila safari huanza kwa hatua moja. Bila shaka, dira ya Boresha Kilimo sasa imepata sura mpya. Boresha Kilimo si kipindi tu, bali ni darasa la vitendo kwa wakulima. Lengo kuu, mavuno bora na tija kwa jamii. Na ukikaa nasi basi utaboresha kilimo. Hapa tutakupakulia maarifa atakotia ladha ya kisukari kwenye mazao yako, tukitofautisha punje na mpunga. Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha. Kuanzia maandalizi ya shamba, mbinu za teknolojia ya kisasa hadi sokoni, usikose kutazama Boresha Kilimo. Ukitaka kujua haya usipime kipimo. Ungana nami nahodha wako Akida Kasim kila siku ya Jumamosi saa 6:30 mchana na Jumanne asubuhi, nikikuletea shajara kamili za wakulima na suluhisho mashinani. Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha. Kumbuka, ukipanda pantosha utavuna pankwisha.
It's more than just clothes. It's a statement, a feeling. An art form, a way to express yourself, a reflection of who you are. It's Fashion Diaries. Join me, Ashley Asachi, every Monday from 8 p.m. as we bring you Kenya's latest trends. Imagine fashion designers, glamorous fashion events, runway shows, red carpet events, and so much more. Fashion Diaries, unleashing your inner fashionista.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Welcome back. This is KUTV Biashara Tuesday, and it's time for you to get informed on everything that is shaping the world of news. On to our news update this morning. Now, to set us off on what transpired yesterday in Wajir County, which took center stage as Kenya marked the 63rd Madaraka Day celebrations, with the national leaders gathering to commemorate the country's journey to independence. The event highlighted government development priorities, national unity, and the growing role of the northeastern region in Kenya's social and economic transformation. Edna Nerea starts us off this morning.
Akishirikiana naye Chief Inspector Lilian Makena.
Wajir County was this year host of the Kenya 63rd Madaraka Day celebrations, which saw President William Ruto gracing this historic day, marking a key milestone in his leadership, which has taken the celebrations to the northeastern part of the country for the very first time. While speaking at the event, President William Ruto linked education, youth empowerment, and infrastructure development to his broader transformation agenda, stating that expanding skills training and road networks is critical to unlocking economic growth and integrating marginalized regions into national progress.
This is not a mere ceremonial gesture. It is a national declaration. It is a moment of affirmation that Madaraka, our freedom, our dignity, our self-determination was never meant for some Kenyans and not for others. It was never meant for some regions and withheld from others.
Ruto stressed on economic empowerment programs and drought response strategies in arid and semi-arid regions, stating that they are aimed at strengthening community resilience and supporting sustainable development across the region.
Decades without adequate roads, without water, health or schools, communities pushed to the fringes of their own republic, their patriotism questioned, their citizenship doubted, their aspirations undermined. For too long, some said this region was too difficult, too dry, too remote, and too insecure to deserve any development.
Leaders accompanying the president, including Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, highlighted that the new water initiative in semi-arid regions will be linked to broader drought response efforts aimed at strengthening community resilience and reducing climate-induced vulnerability.
Umetuambia kwamba ile pesa mingi ya kujenga mabawa ya maji under the National Infrastructure Fund, most resources will be dedicated to arid and semi-arid lands, and that is going to change the fortunes of Wajir, northern Kenya, and the nearly 75% of the arid and arid lands of our country.
The 63rd Madaraka Day celebrations in Wajir ended with a strong emphasis on implementation, as leaders stressed that promise made during the event must translate into tangible projects that improve livelihoods and address long-standing development gaps. Edna Nerea, KUTV, Nairobi.
Commemorated Madaraka Day, a historic occasion that marks the country's attainment of internal self-governance from British colonial rule on 1st June 1963. The day remains one of the most significant milestones in the nation's journey to freedom, coming 6 months before Kenya attained full independence on the 12th of December 1963. Listen in.
The word Madaraka is a Swahili term meaning authority, power, or self-rule. The day, which is celebrated annually on 1st June, provides an opportunity for Kenyans to reflect on the sacrifices made by freedom fighters to attain self-rule through the Mau Mau Rebellion, a resistance movement that emerged in the 1950s to oppose British colonial rule. The fighters, mainly drawn from the Kikuyu community, demanded the return of African land and greater political freedoms. Although the uprising was suppressed during the state of emergency declared by the colonial administration, it intensified calls for self-governance and accelerated constitutional reforms. The struggle ultimately paved way for Kenya's attainment of internal self-rule on 1st June 1963 and full independence on 12th December of the same year under the leadership of Jomo Kenyatta. A defining moment of independence came when the British Union Jack was lowered and the Kenyan national flag raised, symbolizing the end of colonial rule and the birth of an independent nation.
Fellow citizens, 63 years ago, our founding generation secured political freedom. Our responsibility is to ensure that every Kenyan experiences the full promise of that freedom. Freedom from exclusion, from neglect, from discrimination, and freedom to learn, work, and build a better future for ourselves and for our families. For decades, some parts of our country were told they were too distant, they were too dry, too difficult, or too marginal to matter. Today, from Wajir, Kenya rejects that thinking. We affirm that no community is peripheral to our national story. No child is too far away to deserve opportunity.
As Kenyans commemorated the 63rd anniversary of Madaraka Day, celebrations were held in Wajir County, Northeastern region, marking a historic moment for the county as it hosted the national event for the first time. Over the years, the celebrations have been held in different parts of the country to promote national cohesion and showcase development milestones. These year's celebrations were held under the theme of national unity, economic empowerment, and inclusive development. The theme emphasized on the government's commitment to improving livelihoods and promoting sustainable growth across the country. Edna Nerea, KUTV, Nairobi.
The celebration held at Bilima grounds in Kisauni sub-county in Mombasa County. Commissioner Mohamed Noor has assured residents that the government is taking decisive steps to address the long-standing squatter problem through President William Ruto's recently launched National Land Titling Program, as Edward Nyamu tells us in the following report.
Speaking during Madaraka Day celebrations held at Bilima grounds in Kisauni sub-county, Mombasa County Commissioner Mohamed Noor has assured residents that the government is taking decisive steps to address the long-standing squatter problem through President William Ruto's recently launched National Land Titling Program.
After 3 months, President atakuja kupatiana title 1200. So kuna eneo mbalimbali ambaye hazina title, watu hapa wote watakuja kupata title. Hakuna mtu atafukuzwa kwa ardhi yake, tuko na hiyo amri, hatuwezi evict mtu yoyote. Tunaambia mtu aongee na serikali itanunua hiyo ardhi na inapatia na title.
According to him, the plan entails formalizing settlements so that locals can receive legal ownership certificates and acquire land from absentee landowners. This is as President Ruto is scheduled to visit Mombasa in August to oversee the issuance of title deeds to over 2,000 households. Noor asked residents to back the government's initiative, claiming that the land titling program would improve the livelihoods of thousands of households throughout the county, give security of tenure, and lessen land-related problems. The land issue continues to be a common problem to many who have repeatedly called on the government to intervene and settle the dispute, and now it's a matter of time to see if the matter will be dealt with accordingly. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Now, still in the spirit of Madaraka celebration, Kisii Governor Simba Arati has urged parents to actively participate in raising responsible and well-behaved children in order to reduce the increasing cases of disturbances that are being witnessed across the country. Speaking during the third Madaraka Day celebration at Kanyena Green Stadium in Kanyena sub-county in Kisii County, Governor Arati voiced concerns over school fires and youth disruptions at political rallies, claiming that the recent events indicate lack of parental guidance within families.
A list of all the graduates with their courses that they have done, so that we hold a meeting with the Public Service Commission as a...
Na walikuwa wadogo, hawakuwahi kuona darasa tena. Wako jela mpaka siku hii ya leo kwa sababu walifungwa maisha ya milele katika jela. Hawa walichoma shule ya utumishi, wamekamatwa wote. Kwa hivyo story yao kwisha, hakuna shule wataenda kwa sababu watabaki katika jela kwa sababu wameua. Tafadhali tunaomba walimu wetu, ukiona kwamba kuna shida, tuma mtoto aende aongee na mzazi wake. Shule nyingi zinachomeka kwa sababu ya mitihani. Unaona mitihani imeanza kufanyika, watoto wako na wasiwasi. Wacha nikwambia, hata kama usipopita mtihani, maisha inaendelea. Kwa hivyo naomba tafadhali wazazi wote tuweke nidhamu kwa watoto wetu. Maisha imekuwa ngumu, lakini haiwezi kuwa mpaka ngumu kwa mtoto wako. Mtoto wako msomeshe na atakuwa mtu mzuri. Given that I'm your governor, I'll do everything. Hata shule tuongee na watoto. Lakini wazazi tafadhali, bwana county commissioner, county commander, there is incidents of indiscipline even among the youths. Fujo wakati wa siasa, fujo wakati wa mikutano.
Now, as Kenyans were celebrating Madaraka Day, hundreds of Laikipia residents took to the streets to protest against the construction of Ebola isolation and quarantine facility at the Laikipia airbase, bringing the town's regular businesses to a standstill. The residents are urging the government to halt the establishment of Ebola quarantine unit because they believe it will have an impact on tourism and economic growth, insisting that medical institutions are already overburdened and could not manage the infectious disease in the event of an outbreak.
Wakaaji wa huku wamesema wapinge kuletwa hiyo unit ya Embora pande ya kwetu. Nayo si mabaya. Maandamano si mbaya. Lakini maandamano inakuwa na madhara yake. Kuna mtu akienda maandamano aendi kuandamana asidishe serikali ifanye ile mambo yake. Mwingine anaenda tumbo yake ikiwa mbele. Hiyo ni maandamano, sio ni wizi. So ni vizuri wakati watu wanasema ni maandamano, waje maandamano ya amani, message ifikie serikali. Lakini ukienda uporaji itakuwaje? Hao ni kama wale wajambazi wanakuja wanachukua ng'ombe zetu na mbuzi. Ng'ombe zako umekaa nazo siku hizo zote, unasikia asubuhi, unaenda unaangalia zizi ya ng'ombe, hakuna ng'ombe. Utasikia aje? Ujue leo kuna mtu ambaye mali yake imeporwa yote. Nani? Kwamba kisingizio ya nini? Na maandamano.
Now let's turn political a little bit. Succession politics in the western region have started to take shape, with leaders who support President William Ruto expressing confidence that the region has a good possibility of producing a top national leader after Ruto's tenure. President William Ruto's aide Farouk Kibet has urged Western leaders to stick together and keep backing President Ruto, claiming that the region's close proximity and political alliance with the head of state will benefit it going forward. Farouk's remarks were echoed by Navaholo Member of Parliament Emmanuel Wangwe, who urged leaders in Western Kenya to stay committed and back one of their own when the time comes.
Niwaambia kwamba tuko na imani na watu ya magharibi. Tunataka wakati uongozi ikitoka katika mkoa wa Rift Valley, maombi yangu kwamba Mluya hawezi kukaa katika taifa la Kenya akiendesha sisi kama president wa Kenya. Na wakati mnakutana kwa mkutano kama huu, angalieni hilo jambo kama jambo ambalo linawezekana. Kuna nyimbo hapo mumeimba na ni tamu sana. Mnasema hata kama itachukua muda, itafanya namna gani? Na mimi ni wakati mtaita babu wa Roma, sitaki mtu akae kwa ema. Nataka tujaze kwa hii uwanja, tu dance mpaka mjue utawala itakuja hapa magharibi. Kanisa hoye. Kanisa la Mungu iende mbele ama isiende? Vile wengine wanazoea kutumia neno matusi ya shares. Imagine we umeenda retire, alafu we unakajeli inchi, alafu unatuma watu kupinga wale viongozi ya Waluya ambayo wamefika katika mesa. Huyu Wetangula amekuwa akienda State House, amekuwa akienda pale akiona ni kona gani, baadaye William Ruto akitoka yeye ataketi pale. Hata mkiona viti hapa leo iko tofauti. Wakati alikuwa upinzani viti ilikuwa ya plastic. Angalieni mahali amekaa leo, hata hii carpet ni Mungu tu amenijalia nimekaa hapa. Kwa hivyo huyu mtu tumutunze.
Now, hundreds of protesters took to the streets of Nairobi and other towns yesterday to demand urgent action against the rising cases of gender-based violence and femicide cases in the country. The demonstrations, organized by women's rights groups and civil society organizations, saw participants call on the government to declare GBV a national crisis and speed up investigations into the recent cases of violence against women. Protesters carried placards with messages demanding justice, accountability, and a better protection for women and girls. The marches came amid growing concern over increasing reports of femicide and domestic violence across the country. Now, after the National Assembly Committee on Social Protection successfully pushed for increased funding to strengthen child protection, education and rescue program for vulnerable children, the Child Welfare Society of Kenya CWSK is scheduled to receive an additional 300 million Kenyan shillings in the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Despite the current financial limits, the committee convinced the head of state to authorize the extra financing to guarantee that children under the care of CWSK receive sufficient support. This is according to committee chairperson Alice Nganga.
I think we need a list of all the graduates with their courses that they have done, so that we hold a meeting with the Public Service Commission as a committee we can visit the Public Service Commission and to make sure they are absorbed in their line of training so that they form an association of alumni of the Child Welfare Society institutions so that they are supporting them wherever they go and wherever they get absorbed to. I think even if they are 50, the government is big enough to absorb this. A society that does not take care of its less vulnerable cannot save the many who are better in their own society.
2027 tumeongezea $500 billion Kenya shillings kwa Child Welfare Society of Kenya. Hiyo nilifanya wiki moja iliyopita na nikaenda kwa budget committee na nikawaacha maneno yote iko swali. Sasa tuagojea sasa hiyo maneno itasomwa na CS wetu Mbandi wakati atakuwa anaingia kule bungeni mwezi huu wa 6 ambao unakuja hapa akisoma budget ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo ningetaka kusema Child Welfare Society of Kenya, we heard you. Tuliwasikia loud and very clear ya kwamba mnahitaji pesa, na ndio tulikuwa tumekuja kuhakikisha kwa kwamba mnahitaji pesa, lakini sisi kama committee tuliongezea $500 billion Kenya shillings.
Now, Kilifi County leaders have sent a terrifying warning to local criminal groups, threatening to deal with them brutally. The leaders, including County Commissioner Joseph Kibet, Governor Gideon Mungaro, and his deputy Flora Chibule, encouraged parents of criminals to report them to the police so that they might be dealt with. They made these statements while commemorating Madaraka Day at the Marafa Polytechnic grounds in Magarini Sub-County.
Nataka kuuliza wazazi, kama mnaficha vijana maosa, muachilie washikwe, watiwe adabu. Tumepoteza vijana wengi, watu wamepoteza mikono, watu wamekatwa vichwa, wamebadilika sura kwa sababu ya maosa. Kwa hivyo tusaidiane wazazi. Kama mtoto unajua na njia hazielewi, wewe patia polisi arekebishwe, arudi ndio tuwe na usalama. Inasikitisha kila siku unapata huyu amekatwa ganja limeenda kando, huyu amekatwa shikio limeenda kando. Kwa hivyo tumeweka uthabiti na mikakati na polisi na washikadau wote tuhakikishe kwamba kila mtu wa Kilifi anafanya biashara, anatembea usiku bila kutatizwa na hawa makundi yanaitwa maosa.
Ile yote tunaona wananchi ama vijana wanaanza kuvunja sheria, tutawashughulikia ipasavyo bila kurudi nyuma. Lakini ile kitu ninaomba ni kwamba sisi wote kama viongozi tushirikiane. Hiyo ndio tunataka, sababu ile kitu imetuleta hapa ni kazi, hakuna kitu kingine. Tuko tayari kwa kazi usiku na mchana, na hiyo ndio ile kitu inatupea raha.
Yani direct ya watoto wa shule ambao wanaketi mabwenini wanachoma shule. Kwa nini? Muna nini watoto wetu? Pepo gani amewaingia? Shindwe katika jina la Yesu. Tulisikitika mambo ya utumishi. Ni utumishi? Yes, Girls Academy.
Now, despite a planned slowdown by medical staff, the Kirinyaga County government has reassured residents that healthcare services in all public health institutions will continue uninterrupted. Dr. Murray Vinyaga, the chief officer at the Kirugoya Level 5 Hospital, stated that the county had implemented sufficient steps to ensure the continuity of medical services throughout the county. Among the key issues raised by workers is the payment of wages for casual laborers. However, according to Dr. Nyaga, the county has been transitioning all casual workers to the integrated county payroll system, replacing the previous manual payment system.
And I'm very sure they didn't have information that we have been discussing these issues. Personally, as the chair of the committee, we have met all the FIF committees per facility, that is Kianyaga, Kembembe, Sagana and Kerugoya, and we have been discussed at the length on the issues that the facilities need to improve. We have also met the FIF board, the entire board, and the issues of casual workers was sorted long time ago. And as you have heard from the chief officer, there is a number have been paid, and the ones who have not received their payments, probably there are technical issues from the payroll, who some of them did not submit the required documents, but through the assistance of the hospital managers, we are very sure that they will assist those workers, and they will be able to submit the required document with to the payroll department so that their salaries can be paid.
As a result, public health facilities across the county are currently well stocked with essential medicines and supplies to support effective service delivery. Therefore, there is no perceived shortage of drugs in our medical facilities.
All right, now that brings us to the end of our news update this morning. Stay tuned for more that is coming up after the break, including a discussion that I promised earlier of what does it take for you to be outstanding in your profession, what skills do you need and what don't you need, and in your pursuit of your degree, of your diploma, of your master's, what extra skills do you require to make yourself the better version of yourself in your industry. So that discussion is coming up shortly after the break. Good morning, Ian.
Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland, and I'm the main coordinator of the CAFE project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Eva Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Imagine a world where you are empowered to take charge of your health, where you are well informed about the latest advancements in healthcare and understand the policies that impact your well-being. Get ready to take charge of matters your health as we bring you a blend of weekly health features that engage professionals from across various medical fields.
When do you decide as a patient, do I need to go see the doctor? We are at a stage where we are seeing all this manner of chronic illnesses and we wait until we get a disease and then is when we go ahead.
From the most mundane to the complexities that perhaps seem overwhelming, we got you covered.
In terms of the factors that might be attributed, there are hereditary factors that means it could be genetic, so that's one factor. But there are other factors as well, like nutritional deficiencies. So some vitamins such as folate have been identified to be a factor in those. So
our mission is to break down intricate health topics into understandable and actionable insights. Join me, Yvonne Kemoma, every Wednesday 9 p.m. on KUTV's News at 9, where your health is our priority.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi. Wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Bajuka ni kama unarusha mikono, tingisha kichwa chuko sivute kisogo.
Mbona nyinyi na wawasha nkikula nyama choma tu firifiri na
give me your hand and shoulder. Niko na pesa kushinda babako. Kasikia vibaya uko kweli, kasikia vibaya.
I want to flex my love.
I'm going for the tall one. His legs look perfect for a good itch.
I don't know. I think I have a fever and I don't have any energy. Yeah, like there's a war going on inside me.
It has to be the pond. Ponds, rivers, and we will keep snails inside them to show how people get sick.
Yeah, and we'll add pictures of safe water too.
Unsafe, don't jump inside. Stay safe and let adults guide. Snails bring danger, don't you see? Safe water keeps you healthy. Bilharzia free.
Kila safari huanza kwa hatua moja. Bila shaka, dira ya Boresha Kilimo sasa imepata sura mpya. Boresha Kilimo si kipindi tu, bali ni darasa la vitendo kwa wakulima. Lengo kuu, mavuno bora na tija kwa jamii.
Na ukikaa nasi basi utaboresha kilimo.
Hapa tutakupakulia maarifa takotia ladha ya kisukari kwenye mazao yako, tukitofautisha punje na mpunga.
Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Kuanzia maandalizi ya shamba, mbinu za teknolojia ya kisasa hadi sokoni, usikose kutazama Boresha Kilimo.
Ukitaka kujua haya usipime kipimo.
Ungana nami nahodha wako Akida Kasim kila siku ya Jumamosi saa 6:30 mchana na Jumanne asubuhi, nikikuletea shajara kamili za wakulima na suluhisho mashinani.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa. Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Kumbuka, ukipanda pantosha utavuna pankwisha.
veteran politician and community elder Patrick Wangamati became the latest stage for an intensifying political realignment in the western region. Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya led calls for a united Luhya political front, arguing that the community must speak with one voice if it hopes to increase its bargaining power on the national stage.
Kazi yangu ni kuunite Waluhya, tukuwe na strong base, wakati tunaenda kwa negotiating table. Kama ni Sifuna tumeweka mbele, akuwe na watu wake wamesimama nyuma yake.
Several leaders too came at the Kenya Kwanza administration criticizing government policies and expressing concern over proposals contained in the Finance Bill 2026, which they said could further strain households and businesses.
Ile ushuru unaongezeka Kalasinga, majimbo na wabunge wetu. Finance Bill 2026 inakuja tena, msimame na wananchi, mseme no kwa ushuru wa zakai.
Zangu wabunge, nataka kuwaomba kwa sababu ya gharama ya mafuta. Sisi finance bill hata hatutaangalia, tunaiangusha kwa sababu inaenda kupandisha uchumi, maisha inaenda kuharibika. Tumalize tusimalize.
Yenye President Ruto amekuwa akitembea akisindua miradi does not have a budget.
The leaders also urged residents to embrace what they described as a new political dawn for the Luhya nation, throwing their weight behind Nairobi Governor Edwin Sifuna as one of the emerging voices in the region's future political direction.
Watu wa Bungoma, muachilie Edwin Sifuna, twende naye nchi yote ya Kenya. Na tunataka kuambia hii serikali ambayo iko, hii mambo ya uongo ya kila siku, tumetenga, tumepanga, tumefanya hii, sasa inafika kikomo.
On the other end, led by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, allied leaders of the Kenya Kwanza camp pushed back, defended the government's record and accused their critics of using funeral gatherings to advance early campaigns and divisive politics.
Pana kuja kuleta vitina kwa kaunti ya mwenzako.
Watu wamegeuza matanga ya shujaa kama huyu, mzee wa hekima kama huyu, jasiri wa kisiasa kama huyu kuwa ulingo wa siasa ya kutusiana maneno.
Sisi katika nafasi tulio nayo hatuna wakati wa kugombana na wenzetu kwa matanga au pahali popote. Tunakuja kuomboleza familia, na tukitaka rally tutawaita poster ground tuongee siasa.
Wetangula maintained that leaders should respect cultural values by keeping funerals focused on honoring the dead rather than turning them into arenas for political supremacy battles.
Politics is politics, it should not be personal. Tuendelee kupendana, you never know what you will be tomorrow, what I will be tomorrow. At least I know what I want to be tomorrow.
Our work, Mheshimiwa Webuye East, Dan Wanyama, is not to come in Luhyaland and shout two term. Our work it is to say one term, one term, one term, because these people are not working for us.
As the speeches ended and mourners returned home, one message stood out: the scramble for the Western vote has already begun.
Yule mtu ambaye atembei na sisi, yule mtu ambaye ameungana na Ruto kunyanyasa na watu wetu, hatutamkubali na kisia ajifanya anarudi kuja kujoin sisi.
Presidents tumekuwa nao mara tatu. Kwa hivyo ile tunaona tunataka kuwa na rais sisi, hata wakati ule ukikuja wa 2032 tusaidie Mheshimiwa Ruto wakati huu kwa 2 term, alafu 2032 tujipange moja wetu kutoka Western Kenya aweze pia kuwa rais wa Jamhuri yetu ya Kenya.
And if the events in Bungoma are any indication, the road to 2027 could be defined as much by the fight for Luhya unity as it will be by the debate over the government's economic agenda.
This time round tumesema kwamba tungojee mpaka 2032. Tumesema 2027 ndio mwaka wetu. Na mimi I want to face Kenyans and ask them, mtu waangalie vile mnatuona sisi. Tunatosha ama hatutoshi? Mkisema kwamba hatutoshi, mtuambie sababu ni gani?
Emmanuel Kutosi, KUTV.
All right, welcome back, and we are seated, and once business matters, entrepreneurship, innovation, and everything in between. Right now, I'm joined by a gentleman, Ian, who has quite an interesting journey. You know, when you have just concluded and your parents keep telling you that, you know, you should pursue this course, you should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, you should be in IT. What other course do they tell you to do? You should be a pilot and all these fancy courses that you're told to do. But then you get to campus and then realize that, you know what, maybe this is not my calling. Maybe this is not something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Well, today we have someone who has had almost a similar story of juggling different, pursuing different fields and then eventually landing on what makes him happy. And of course, in this show, we normally say that it's not just about passion, it's about passion that pays bills. So we are joined by Ian Mbugua, who is joining us right here on studio. He'll be sharing his story and his journey and giving us hope to the young innovators. Without saying much, allow me have Ian introduce themselves to Ian. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. First of all, it's a very beautiful studio with beautiful stuff, and I really like the way you are presenting the news. Also, I really enjoyed watching the weather. You know, as a farmer, we really depend on the weather, the news from the weather, so that we can know when to plant, what time to apply the fertilizer and all that. Otherwise, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's an honor to be here.
You want me to forget everything that I was just about to say by flattering me before we begin the show. Anyway, thank you so much for those beautiful comments. Now, Ian.
Yes.
I have mentioned about a journey or a perspective that is instilled in just fresh Form 4 graduates.
Yes.
Of what they should be pursuing.
Yes.
You had a different perspective. You got to school, went to your first classes, and, you know, changed to something else later on.
Yes.
Talk to us about this journey. What made you change your career path? What was the inspiration behind it?
So first of all, I finished my high school in Nakuru County, Nakuru town actually, a high school called Menengai High School. And after finishing Menengai High School, I knew one thing: I wanted to come to Nairobi. As for me, as opposed to my peers who knew the courses they wanted to do, as for me, I knew I wanted to come to Nairobi. So the first thing I did is I applied all the schools in Nairobi, so that in case I missed a chance, I will just be Nairobi and I would find my way around it. So I applied, and luckily I was called to KU to do IT. And I joined IT. I actually went to a lot of classes. I even did the first cut. But now, after doing the first cut, I realized that as for IT, it is more you are on your own most of the times, because most of the times you are coding, most of the time you are looking after websites, after apps, most of the time you are working in the wee hours of the night inside your house. In fact, most coders do not go to 9 to 5. Most of them are virtual. They work virtually. So I realized working virtually does not work for me. The main reason is I'm a politician deep inside, and I really love social works where I can get to interact with people, hear different things, learn on a daily basis, as opposed to learning on ChatGPT, as opposed to learning on Google. So because of that, I swiftly switched my course, and I ended up doing agricultural engineering, which I thank the Lord for, because agriculture has really done a lot for me.
What pushed you to agriculture? Because young people, we are a generation which we don't really fancy agriculture. Why agriculture?
So after my high school, first of all, I did a international computer driving license, ICDL. After that, I joined a company called Monsanto. That is before joining KU. I joined a company called Monsanto. Monsanto is an agricultural company. So what they do, they take seeds and they put the medicine, not the medicine per se, they take raw seeds and they make them into seeds that they can be sold at the agrovet. So I was in the production plant. Initially, I didn't understand a lot. I just used to go there for the money. But now, by the time I was coming to KU, I had understood that this company was making a turnover in the sense of billions. And because of that, when I came to KU, I tried to look at other courses. I looked at maybe education. Before moving from IT to engineering, I tried to look at other things I could do. So I looked at education, I looked at other things, non-technical, technical, but I realized that my heart was in the technical fields. So I realized now I'll have to remain engineering. I looked at electrical engineering because I had done electricity in high school and I had a straight A. So I knew, as for me, this will be a walk in the park. But now the challenge is for electrical engineering, the cluster was 44, my cluster was 42. So among the other 7 courses, petroleum, aerospace and the rest, I saw agriculture as the most viable because in our country we don't have a lot of agricultural professionals. As you've said, most of the youths run away from agriculture. If you look at our counties, the people who are supposed to come to your farm and look at your farm, they don't do that. They charge you. It's supposed to be free, but they charge you. So I realized there's a loop somewhere, and that is where I joined.
So far, reception.
Yes.
As you get to the market.
Yes.
What is it that you see?
Yes.
Of maybe a misconception that the young people have about agriculture that you find different when you get to the field?
So after getting to the field, I actually realized I was not an agricultural engineer yet, because what I knew was theory. Maybe I know you should put this amount of fertilizer, but now when you go to the field, it is totally different. Maybe I know structures for chicken are supposed to be made like this, but now when I go to the field, I find that everything is totally different. So to answer your question, one of the biggest or largest misconception about farming, or the biggest challenge in farming, is the lack of information. Most people know farming as you have to go and dig, you have to plant maize, you have to plant this. There are different types of farming that can actually make you a millionaire within 3 months. First of all, the main questions are, do you have land? The second is the weather. Does that part rain most of the time, or do you have to irrigate? And the last part is about the capital, because if I have, for example, for 1 acre we estimate at 50,000 for you to plant, to lease, to plant and everything, all those processes. So if you have that 50k and you invest in it, you will be able to get back around 120, depending with the type of crop. There are some crops like cabbage which can bring you upwards of 500,000 from the initial 50. So it just depends with the information. Most people don't know this. And last but not least, the main reason most young people hate farming is because they were made to dig or to plow the farm by their parents when they were young, so they used to hate it with all their lives. So they grew up with that notion, and they used to see people on TV and admired working in the TV, but they didn't know, or they don't know, that sometimes the person working on the TV does not earn as much as the farmer. Yes, so that is the biggest misconception: lack of information. People have very weird or crazy information, which is not true.
And also another thing,
yes,
still on youths and joining the agribusiness industry.
Yes,
there is a belief that we are in a country of cartels, so there are definitely cartels in all fields.
Yes.
So it's quite difficult for a young person to get into the industry and come out successful in the industry.
Yes.
What cheat codes do you have?
The first cheat code is know your market. For example, at the moment, I am working as the manager for a branch of Cargill. Cargill is like Coca-Cola. It has a branch in most of the countries in the world. So Cargill in Kenya has 4 branches. I am the manager of one of the branches in Narok. So as for me, I buy maize and wheat on a daily basis. So if someone has maize or wheat, they should bring to me, or they could bring to me regardless of the amount. Even if you have wheat worth 1 billion shillings, just bring it, because the biggest challenge in agriculture is market. You might plant your potatoes, then on the harvesting day you don't have somewhere to sell them. So what do you end up doing? You end up feeding your cows with, So first of all, look at the market. If you have the market, worry no more. The second thing is you can create accounts. For example, for Cargill, if you come and create an account with us, that account can enable you to sell anywhere in the country, to sell anywhere around East Africa, and to even export, provided you create an account, which is free. So it's just a lack of information, because as a young person, you'll go and plant your own potatoes, then put them maybe on a pickup, then come to them to the market. But you had not looked for the market before. For example, let me give you an example. Maybe there's someone who owns a fast foods place. You could go and talk to them first before planting. Ask them, how much do you buy potatoes? How is the demand? How many bags do you use in a day, or maybe in a week? So that I don't plant 1,000 bags and you only use 1 in a week. Yes, so basically it's just about the market. That is the loophole. If you can figure out the market, you can get a lot of money. The last example, so that you understand me, for 1 acre of maize, if you plant maize in 1 acre of land, you'll get around 20 bags. 20 bags, and 1 bag is 4,000. In short, you'll get around 80,000 from 1 acre when you plant and harvest maize. But do you know, if you don't harvest that maize and slash it as it is growing, it can be used for animal feeds. And instead of the 80K, you can get 220K in the same piece of land. And for a shorter period of time, because you slash them before even they matured and dried up. So it's just a matter of lack of information. Yes, but there's a lot of money in agriculture.
So it's a mistake what people say, that just begin and then you'll figure things out as you move in agriculture.
It's not a mistake, but if you want to start and then figure it out, you must have some money, you know, some capital. Otherwise, if I only have 50K, then I start, then that 50K burns, I won't figure it out. But if I have $1 million, I can burn as many 50Ks as I need for me to figure it out. So basically, I think if you're a young person, you can just consult, because, for example, consultation with a person like me is very cheap. And if you're going to invest, for example, $1 million, just use even 10,000 for a consultation. Call someone who has planted before. Let me come and take your soil samples, tell you what is in your soil, tell you what the exact fertilizer you're supposed to use, tell you all the diseases that may attack your crops, give you all the different pesticides from the agrovet. In case there's in soil, it's called dawa ya baridi. Yes, most of these crops, when you plant them, most of them don't germinate because of the cold. There's a way the cold makes the xylem and all that. It makes the plant shrink shorter and have less harvest. For example, you might see the maize cob is smaller, but if I have come to your field, maybe we've tested and everything, you might get very many cobs in one plant and very huge cobs. Yes, so that is the...
All right. Now let's come back to Kenyatta University.
Yes.
The Chandaria incubation.
Yes.
There are several projects. We've had several people come here with their projects and the progress that they make in life with their support.
Yes.
So how has Chandaria benefited you as a person?
So as a person, I was fortunate enough, first of all, to there's a guy from our class who got an office in Chandaria while we were in second year. He was a very good friend of mine. So we used to go to Chandaria to see what he was doing. Actually, his name is Jeff Ayako. He was among the team that made during COVID, there's a medical machine that KU students made. And he was a part of the team. Because of that, he got an office. So we used to go and chill in Chandaria when we didn't have classes. And from that, I started understanding that, oh wait, so there are people actually making money in Chandaria. So there are people who are coming with things from scratch. So there's a 3D printer in Chandaria. You can go and print anything you want. You can print any type of plastic. For example, I'll show you one I have here. So after realizing that, and after realizing how easy it is, I also tried something, of which the first app we tried was called the Mess app. So initially, mess food was very cheap. You could eat even for less, for even 12 shillings, which was ugali at 7 and veggies at 5. So we created a system. It was an app. And we lobbied it to the school. In fact, we took it to the director of catering. We took it to the VC. We took it to Chandaria, to the director of ICT, and everything went fine. But something didn't go well when it came to us getting the funding. But now the mess up was basically, we were connecting the mess. We were making a sort of a Glovo for KU, where food was getting from the mess, and you could order food even if you were in class. So we made the MVP and it was working, and we even went and tested it in the mess. But now the challenge was, there's a certain way KU collects its revenue. There's a certain way it channels it, because we wanted, if someone is eating, for example, 20 shillings, we as mess up, we get 1 shilling as commission from your 20 shillings. So that brought a lot of differences, because there were some people who wanted us to get only 0.1 shillings, others. So because of the funding model and all about the funds, we were not able to actualize it in the mess. But we tested it, and also we have the app. So inside the app, there were very many functionalities. One of them, you could, for example, if I'm doing this project and I want someone who can market, inside the mess app, there was a way you could invite someone to lunch. You buy them lunch, and then it's like you're talking to them. They're giving you expertise, but you're buying them lunch. We used to call it you send someone flowers. So how it used to happen is, all of us, I'll have an account in Messup, you'll have an account in Messup. And maybe as you're signing in, you'll say something that you do. Maybe you're a photographer, you'll write that you're a photographer. Now when I'm looking for a photographer, I can go to the group, look at the list of photographers, then throw maybe you a flower. When I throw you a flower, when you accept, you'll come to the mess, I'll buy you food, then we'll talk about business. So you'll come talk about business, but not on your own bill. I'll facilitate it. Maybe someone wants to talk to me and ask me about Chandaria. They just throw in a flower, then I come. But unfortunately, we were not able to get the visibility. So we tried to sell it at JKUAT. They offered to give us around 5 million for the system. But their offer was that if they buy the system from us, we are not allowed to bring it to KU. We are not allowed to share it with anyone else. They are buying it completely from us. So we also didn't have a deal. And surprisingly, up to date, the mess up is just lying around, but we do have the copyright for it given by the government. And yes, the school also recognizes that. And because of that, we are given now an office. I was in second year when I got the office in Chandaria. Now, to answer your question about how Chandaria works and how it has been able to help us, Chandaria puts you in a room where there are other professionals. If I don't know to code and you do know to code and I can market, we can combine and I can market for you your product and you can help me code my product. So Chandaria has produced so many projects. Fortunately or unfortunately, most of them have not yet picked up because of one thing, the funding. Yes, as I've told you, for example, our company Dope, we made a cold room that can be used in the markets. This is a big fridge, for example, the size of this studio, such that every mama mboga can be able to store their produce inside. Because tomatoes go bad in 2 days if they are left in the sun, but they may be able to stay for 3 weeks if they are refrigerated. But now one cold room costs $1 million, and we wanted to put cold rooms in every market in Kenya. So that's why I'm saying funding is the biggest challenge. But Chandaria as an institute is one of the best. They give you free will. For example, if they are going to places, they take you. If other people are coming to Chandaria, they make sure your project has been seen. But now the funding part is the one we've not yet figured out. But I really appreciate Chandaria business.
All right. Now, that is something that I've seen being a problem to most young people who are coming up with projects, with good ideas to venture in. Perhaps on the side of the government, have you seen any kind of help? If not, what would you suggest they be doing? So
the government actually does not look at innovation the same way we young people look at innovation. I think the government looks at innovation as a bill, because if I'm innovating, I'll ask the government for something. So they don't really look at it with the same eyes that I'm looking for. They see it as a bill. This boy wants 5 million. I don't know, the other ones $500 million. I don't know to do it. So most of the time, they've not been helping us a lot. I won't lie. In fact, in Chandaria, most of the people, for example, most of the projects, they've been funded by the whites. And it is very sad because recently, the US cut funding for most of the projects. So it has been crazy, but we shall see how to proceed. So in terms of the government, I believe the government is also the main reason why we are having these challenges. Because tell me why, for example, we have the Engineers Board of Kenya. It is the board that represents all of us. Me as an engineer, I'm in the Engineers Board of Kenya. But most of the time you find the Engineers Board of Kenya is underfunded. The Engineers Board of Kenya, they have one event per year. And that one event, they tell you, write articles. I don't want to write articles. Tell us to come and compete about the best machines in Kenya. Tell us to come and compete about the best technology in Kenya. Don't tell me to write articles, then I win 30K. There's no, they know there's no project that can be done with 30K unless you're doing a project for Mama Mboga, maybe something to cut her skuma or something. But if you're doing something that will impact 1 million people, we all know it requires some funding. And the last thing is, I don't know if you've realized or if people know that as a country we are in a very bad place. Because at the moment, in every 100 shillings, 92 shillings is used to pay debt. So we are left with 8 shillings. So this 8 shillings is supposed to pay the teachers, the medical practitioners, and all that. Initially, it was around 18 shillings that was going in debt, and we had 72 shillings as a country, which now was being used to invest. But at the moment, we are so much in debt that the government doesn't have any money to give anyone. In fact, as much as I can say the government should support us, but the government, we cannot look upwards to the government because it is at the worst state ever. And if I say, me as Kanika, as an engineer, I'm looking towards the government, I might look towards it for the next 20 years, 30 years. So that's why we're trying to do projects that we can fund ourselves. And then when they bring in money, now we go to bigger projects. Myself, I have more than 20-something projects, and they have write-ups. Their projects I've researched on for months. So what we used to do is we used to start one project like Eco Value, research on it for so many months, visit cold rooms, visit different companies, get the quotation and everything. Then when we reached a point where funding was a challenge, we used to sideline it, then start now a different one on maps, on a code. So we have a lot of projects.
All right. Now, as we bring this to an end, briefly talk to us about this project that you're having here on studio.
Yes.
And the inspiration behind it briefly.
Yes, so briefly, this machine is created by one of the companies which I founded. Is called Dope Solutions. And this machine, basically, in Kenya, there is no, per se, in Africa, there is no beer dispenser or any gadget that dispenses beer. So we came up with an idea to create this machine. We call it the sip station. A sip station, you can come and sip here. So the main idea is self-service, whereby, as you can see, there's a control panel. I know it's not on yet, but if you put it on, yeah, you'll be able to see. So if I want, at the moment, if today we had keg, so it can serve different drinks from keg, Moratina, and also alcohol. So for example, yesterday we were serving keg. So what you do is, when it is on, if it is keg, there's a certain payment system for keg. There's another for radish and there's another for alcohol. So if it is keg, the least you can pay is 50 shillings. So what you do is you press A for keg, and then for that you key in your number 07 or whatever. Then it will prompt you. Then after putting in your PIN, there are tumblers that are at the station. So what you do is you just put a tumbler here, and then when the machine senses the tumbler, it dispenses. But when you remove the tumbler, the machine does not dispense, so that we reduce wastage. So far we've been able to showcase it at the Nairobi Showground under KU. We've also been able to showcase it with Andrew Kibe. When he came to KU, he was live recording. We were able to go live with him. Last but not least, Scam Cardinali, while he was performing in different places, I was able to also go with the machine. So it's just a matter of funding. Making one unit costs 40, but we sell it for 60. So for me to make 10 units, I need at least 400. So that's why we're doing it slowly.
I know the journey has not been an easy one.
Yes.
With the innovation, creating different machines, with projects here and there. But I just want for you to give like an advice to a young person, probably in campus or who has just concluded campus with different projects, how they can sustain themselves and, you know, maintain themselves in the industry.
So first of all, the main challenge with us is that we do projects as a side hustle. Maybe I go to work from morning till evening, then when I come back I'm very tired, and that's when I want to start coding. That's why most of these projects don't really take off. If you're a young person, maybe you don't even have a family, of which most young people don't have their own, not their parents, like your own family, your kids. So I think you can just take what you have. In fact, as for me, I was willing to even sell things in my house just to make sure. Fortunately, I didn't, but that is the level of which you should put yourself. Because one thing is for sure, if it works, everything changes for you. If it doesn't, well and good, but at least you'll say that you tried. Yes.
Finally, through your journey in school, you were in different clubs, different activities. How is that relevant, or how has that helped you out of classroom?
So first of all, if I start talking about maybe my leadership journey, I'll stay here forever, because I've done so much. Yes, but I might say that most of these leadership positions have really helped me. So because I've been able, for example, for me to join KU Radio, it was because I was the chairperson of KU Scouts. So KU Radio approached KU Scouts and said that they want one person from KU Scouts to be doing shows in radio. And I was really passionate about that. I was the chairperson, so I was the one who was told to look for someone. So we went, 3 of us, and they picked me, and that is where I started radio. In short, what I mean is these positions expose you to things that you will never get if you did not offer yourself to these positions. I understand leadership is very tricky, politics is very tricky. In fact, for those who want to join politics right now, as you look at the country, you know how crazy it is, mandamano and all that. So you might be tempted, or you might be scared to join politics. But all I can say is, if you believe, then it will come true. Yes, and finally, to answer your question, leadership has taken me to places. I have to embassies, to I don't even know what to say. It has done the Lord's work.
Yes. In terms of employability, Does it count?
It counts a lot. For example, I did my internship at Ken Tomato Sauce, a company under Central Food Industries. I went there to do my internship, and I went there as one of the junior members of staff. But within a month, I found myself interviewing people for jobs in the interview room. Like I even interviewed the engineer who was coming to in short, I found myself rising very quickly because most people don't take responsibility. We've been given a job, most people will run away. I'll go and do it, then the bosses will think I'm very hardworking, but I just did what you told me, because most people run away. So if you can just take that responsibility, you'll be so surprised by where you could find yourself in the near future. As for me, I've been called by different people, different political groups, especially after getting this position at Cargill, they've seen that I have potential. But now I'm taking it slow because I don't want to kill my career before I start. Also, people are very angry in the country. Some are on this side, others are on this side. So as for now, I'm not taking sides. I'm just focusing on innovation and making sure that we get as many jobs in Kenya as we can. Because if a machine like this picks up, I'm sure we'll have more than 1,000 employees, plus the people who bring maybe the keg, the transporters, now the keg facilities. We'll have a lot of parties. Comrades will get to know each other. Maybe others will even marry each other from these events. There's AFCON in 2027. We wish that maybe the biggest like East African breweries had called us for an interview, and we are still going, but we wish that some of these maybe big industries will promote maybe such a machine. Because people are coming to Kenya to see things made in Kenya. They should not come here and find something made from China. You know, it's our only chance to advertise ourselves. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Ian, thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Yes.
I hope to see you once again, and when you are ready for that seat, you let us know.
Thank you so much.
Tutakuletea kura.
Asante sana.
All right. Now to our viewers, that has been Ian Mbugwa, who showing us how hard or easy it is for a young person to thrive, especially in between. Coming up next is the state of the nation, and that is on Newspaper Review. Stay tuned for that.
For a long time, employees have faced various health challenges due to heavy workloads, a situation that has often hindered their performance at work. However, there is now some relief. Employees have now been given an opportunity to rejuvenate and stay alive through football tournament organized at Kenyatta University on Saturday.
I'm a recreation and sports consultant with the Pinovet Group Consultants Limited. We are having our first edition of the Corporate Playbook Tournament at Kenyatta University grounds. The tournament is aimed at improving employee wellness through sports and recreation. I think it's long overdue. We are at a point where, as a country, we are starting to embrace employee wellness. There is need for people to maintain being well. That is both mentally, physically, emotionally, social wellness. So it's a good platform for employees, for teams, for companies to come together, network.
Remember, we are to the tail end of the mental health month, and it's a timely event in the sense that all the workloads that we've had, the pressure, everything that we've been doing, we are here today to cool down. We are here to compete. We are here to enjoy. So, like you saw the team, we have a very, very happy team. We have a very, very enthusiastic team.
The participating employees competed fiercely from the group stages all the way to the finals. The tournament also provided them with an opportunity to network, interact, and learn from one another beyond the football pitch.
Hiyo exposure ni muhimu. Alafu pia tunajua kila, we have different companies from this place. So hiyo exposure unapata kujua team fulani ni wa kampuni fulani, organization fulani. So tunakuwa tuna hiyo exposure ni muhimu sana kwetu.
It's been a very interactive day. We've networked, and we believe and hope that we'll be having more of such sessions.
A total of 16 teams took part of the tournament held at Kenyatta University, with the organizers expressing confidence that the second edition of the competition will be bigger and better.
So we are having the first edition. We've had 16 corporate teams, and so far it's good. It's doing well. We'll have another edition, and we are very excited about that.
Football is no longer solely viewed as a form of entertainment. It is now increasingly being used as a solution to promote the well-being and health of employees. Hassan Lewa, KUTV.
The tragic fire at Utumishi Girls Academy has once again brought the issue of safety in schools to sharp focus. Speaking in Kisii County, State Department for Broadcasting and Telecommunication Principal Secretary Stephen Isaboke called for greater utilization of internet connectivity and digital infrastructure to enhance safety in schools, hospitals and business premises.
Nowadays, CCTV or any of these security apparatus are connected devices. We call them Internet of Things. They're all connected devices. So literally, you can monitor from your phone what's happening in a compound, what's happening in a facility. And with, for example, incidents like what happened in Utumishi, you should be able to actually pick, for example, an alarm. If there's a fire, smoke or something like that, detector, it will pick and say there's something going on, and then you should be able to use that as an alert.
16 students lost their lives while 79 others suffered injuries after a dormitory fire broke out at the school in Gilgil, Nakuru County. As the investigations into the deadly fire continue to gather pace, the tragedy has also exposed serious gaps in compliance with school safety regulations.
So in a Wi-Fi environment, a connected environment, you're actually able to connect any device, be it CCTV, be it of course now connected computers, internet-ready computers, or anything else, internet-ready, also TVs. So you can actually be able to access anything you need, including obviously getting alerted and getting to secure places, including, for example, institutions like schools, hospitals, or even homes.
The Ministry of Education has dissolved the school's board of management following preliminary findings that indicated failure to adhere to the school's safety manual and basic education regulations.
Ukiangalia ripoti ambayo tunapata, wanachukua watoto 200 wanajaza ndani ya domu ya watoto 100. Mlango wanafunga na mtu anapotea na kifunguu. Wewe niambie, kama serikali iko ambayo inajali wananchi na inalinda wananchi, kisa ambacho kilifanyika Utumishi hakingefanyika.
Remember, after the Endarasha fire in 2024, the government said that there would be standards which every school would be forced to adopt. Can we be given an inspection report showing that all boarding schools have complied?
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba said investigations revealed congestion in the dormitory and locking of one exit door, both of which contravened established safety requirements.
Walikuwa wapi wale ambao kazi yao katika Ministry of Education ni kuhakikisha safety standards are followed within our schools? Hawakuwepo, walituangusha.
As families continue to mourn their loved ones, education stakeholders are now renewing calls for strict enforcement of safety standards in all learning institutions to prevent similar tragedies. Emmanuel Kutosi, KUTV.
The 3 bills signed into law by President William Ruto today aim to strengthen forest conservation, funding for marginalized counties, and the country's response to disasters such as the fire tragedy at Utumishi Girls School that claimed the lives of 16 students.
Provisions Committee and member for Kikuyu constituency in the last parliament.
The National Disaster Risk Management Act seeks to improve the country's response during disaster. The law was signed just a day after the fire incident at Utumishi Girls Academy, which left 16 students dead and 74 more injured. The Act provides a clear legal framework for coordinating disaster response between the national and county government, as well as providing funding and support to affected families.
Mr. President, for implementation.
The second law, the Forest Conservation and Management Amendment Act 2025, strengthens Kenya's efforts to protect forests. It seeks to enhance legal and international framework governing the forest sector with a focus on sustainable management and forest research.
The 34 exercise the authority conferred upon you under Article 115 of the Constitution.
Equalization Fund Appropriation Act 2025 aims to strengthen devolution by reducing development gaps in marginalized counties. The law allocates 16.8 billion shillings to 34 counties for investment in water, roads and health services, with the funds to be kept in a special account to ensure accountability.
With kind permission, I now invite the Clerk of the National Assembly.
Together, the new laws are expected to improve the safety of schools and communities, conserve forests and promote equitable development across the country, depending on their implementation. Edwin Nyamo, KUTV.
The growing burden of chronic wounds in Kenya has sparked fresh calls for the government to invest more in specialized nursing care. Health experts speaking during the World Continence and Enterostomal Therapy Nurses Conference at KUTRRH warned that the country is facing a severe shortage of specialized nurses.
So we would encourage the government to first create the necessary policy documents, incorporate the necessary people in these kind of endeavors, the necessary task forces, so that we give it a front space. Dedicate, of course, resources to the specific training of these cadres, as well as, of course, providing the resources in terms of materials that are needed.
According to the chairperson of the conference, Margaret Mungai, who is also the Deputy Director of Nursing Services at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, many nurses are overwhelmed by the number of patients they handle daily.
The nurses wish that they can be more trained so that they are able to undertake this work well. We seek to have more nurses employed so that they are able to take care of the citizens better. There is the nursing report, that is the World Nursing Report, which indicates that nurses are short-staffed, meaning that in most of the facilities in our country, we are not having the optimal number of nurses.
KUTRRH Director of Clinical Services, Dr. Anthony Kamau, said the shortage is affecting quality healthcare delivery, particularly in oncology centers where many patients suffer from cancer-related wounds.
As Kenya aggressively pursues universal health coverage and aligns with the WHO global directives, we must confront a sobering truth. Specialized wound and ostomy care can no longer be treated as an afterthought or a luxury.
Saizi kuna suluhisho hata kwa zile vidonda ndugu ambazo zimekaa kwa muda mrefu, zinatiba, ambapo muuguzi ataweza kufanya ile assessment na akiona kuna haja ya kumtuma kuonekana na watibabu wengine, kama ni wale vascular wa mishipa, kama ni plastic. Baada ya kutayarisha kidonda, basi mgonjwa atatumwa pale aweze kufaidika.
Specialists also encourage patients living with chronic wounds to seek early treatment without fear or stigma.
All right, welcome back. We are seated ready for the newspaper review. Without wasting time, allow me have the guests introduce themselves to you before we get further into this discussion on the state of the nation. I'll begin by, on my immediate right, Richard.
Yes, so my name is Richard Mruka. I'm a youth leader from Kibra, Nairobi.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You'll tell us more about watu wa Kibra and mbona mmetulia this time round. Let me get to Moha.
My name is Alhaji Mohamed Musa Bodle. I'm a youth representative, Langata Sub-County. Yes.
Karibuni sana to our studios this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a youthful conversation. Mostly we have youthful conversations in the morning, and then tunapeleka wazee jioni on the state of the nation after the news. But in mornings, most of the time we are doing youth. So we are here today with our newspaper. We are reviewing newspapers. A topic that is common, both on the Standard and the Daily Nation are the papers we are focusing on this morning. The Standard, they're talking of Ebola Center. No, that is in relation to the speech of our head of state yesterday. Basically, they focus on what he did not say on the newspaper. And a similar story is on the Daily Nation, talking of Ruto silent on Ebola. So everyone talks of the president was supposed to say this on the same. And the reason why this is so hot, based on what we've covered in the field, the protest that happened yesterday. Some of the protesters were saying we are celebrating Madaraka when we are celebrating self-rule, but it does not look like we are self-governing ourselves. It looks like all this is coming, our decisions are made outside the country, then they're imposed for us to just continue. That the neo-colonialism is what transpired. So from where you sit, Moha, let me begin from you.
Yes.
because this might touch you a little bit. Do you think that the president's speech should be this scrutinized? Because when you're out of government, you always know what the president should be doing. Or when you're out of leadership, you always know what the leader who is there should be doing, what he should have said. But then when you get to the hot seat, probably you don't do the same thing. Should we be focused on this side of criticism to the president of what he did not say?
First and foremost, if you look at the Ebola issue, the government, I think the government has not been open enough to tell us what exactly is happening. So let us not be people who are very quick to criticize. Let us give it, the government through the Ministry of Health time for them to come out. I think another good example was with CS Mbadi. He was there. Yeah, you saw how he was doing the public awareness. So let us give the ministry, the government through the Ministry of Health. I think the PS, you saw the PS having an interview yesterday, and I think with that we will have clear details. Remember, this deal was signed between the government of Kenya in collaboration with the American government. So me as Mohammed, I don't know what was in that. I don't know the context and the content of that conversation that they had, the two governments had. So let us look at things. Let us give the government time. Let us give them opportunity. Let the ministry come out and educate people. This and this and this. This is what we did. This is what is. This is how we're planning to contain the problem. The whole thing. And I think with that, after you get the clear information, I think now you can be in a position to oppose or maybe to support. Yeah.
But that is exactly where I want to begin from. You see, one of the misdoings of this government is that it has been shooting a shot on its foot time and again. Because Ebola is not malaria that we can say we'll actually treat with some drugs here and there and then we are done. It is such a deadly disease. It is such a menace that if it enters our borders, and of course you see where the facility is being placed and the people who work there, then definitely if one contracts that disease, and because there are so many people who work at that camp, if one contracts that disease and brings it to the outside, there's so many people are going to suffer countrywide, not just within Laikipia or whatever. It is countrywide, just like it was during the COVID era and how deadly it was. And why I'm saying the government keeps shooting a shot at itself is the fact that before people started speculating, or rather coming to know there is such a deal, the government should have clearly explained to the citizens of Kenya what is happening. Because sovereign power belongs to the people, in as much as it has been donated through our institutional bodies, including the president himself, to actually exercise that power. But I think the president is very accountable to the citizens of Kenya for him to explain in detail so that people do not have a fear or contradiction of what is happening. Otherwise, without that, then it is very right for people to actually demonstrate and call for mass action, because we actually need to understand what is happening. Otherwise, if that is not clearly communicated, that is why you see the frustrations that are there. Yeah.
Let me come back to you, Moha, because you mentioned that the government should be given time for them to give an explanation. But is this an explanation or is this damage control? Because the deal was already made. We didn't even hear it from our government. We only heard our government speaking of it after the outrage, after we heard it from America's media outlets. So is this really waiting for explanation or damage control?
That's a very good question. You see, there is a structure on how the government actually lets out in bits in terms of communication. You understand? And right now, as you can see, everybody is an expert. You get your 1 GB for 1 hour, what, 20 bob? and you're all over the internet. Remember, this is some of the information you come through the internet. Is it verified by the government? No. I can be somebody who is not in ideal with what is being done. You know how the tech works, and you get to be a blog and you push a certain narrative. So anything that is not yet verified by the Ministry of Health, a communication that is not yet channeled, and until the communication is channeled by the Ministry of Health, that is through the PS or the CS representing the government of Kenya, until that is done, let us not speculate issues. Let us be very open-minded to wait and listen. What are the measures they have in place? My brother here, you mentioned about issues concerning contraction of the virus. In this position, we have not been told who are the people. Are our health professionals going to be part of that measures? We are not aware. So until that is made public, because we don't know whether the Americans are the people, or maybe the American doctors and nurses are the people who are going to take part in that. So until that, let us not speculate issues. Let us remain very calm. Let us remain very composed and wait for government communication. And with that, I think we can now get to the second phase of how we're going to approach the issue.
You know, the young people say that kutetea serikali ni ngumu, because you are telling us that we should wait for the government. We waited yesterday, but we didn't hear anything.
Exactly. And that's the point, because one of the things that government needs to know is that it is accountable to the people of Kenya. It is not to the people of Kenya to speculate and start asking questions. Just as you've rightly put it, we actually had it for the first time from the Secretary of State, that is Marco Rubio, concerning the deal that had been made. Yet our government had been silent. And until people started poking and asking questions, and that is what has been happening all through. Think about the JKIA deal. It was something that was silent. And you can think about very many other deals probably that are happening in government that few come to light and many don't come to light, that people don't understand. But if the government was to be accountable and explain to the people actually what is happening, just like as you said, currently I see the CS for finance actually going around and trying to sensitize the people and engaging the public so that the public has an understanding. Because you see, what you say or how you put something is not up to me to understand it or interpret it, but how you put it to make me actually understand the point that you're passing across. And that is what is actually lacking, that the government needs to understand it is accountable. Should there be things that concern the Kenyan people, they're first of all accountable to the Kenyan people, and that is actually what is lacking. Yeah. And
before we get to what was said, because we are talking about what was not said, last week, PS Health talked of we as a country are ready to tackle any, pandemics. He cited COVID-19 and our role. Regional peace. What I heard was something like a resume where you're applying for a job, and then you're just mentioning, when you taught somewhere or you just led a group and then you're quoting yourself as a good leader. That is what I heard being mentioned, because it didn't really give why exactly are we taking up this role. It just gave that we serve as a unifying country, for peace, contributing to world health and all that. We didn't get a clear explanation why Kenya, a country that has never officially recorded a single case of the same. But then what the explanation that we gave is what we are saying, they're unsatisfactory. We expected more explanation from the president, which is now bringing this headline because we did not. Now let's get to what was said. Away from Ebola, this is to deal with matters of the northeastern region, and the president vowing to end exclusion of the northern part of the country, that is Wajir and all those areas. So for the longest time, the president has been touring the country in various regions, and every time he talks of the northern part of the country, issues of IDs arise and him easing up the process, which residents say sometimes it took months. What we are seeing is we see different reactions. Some saying that, you know, when the northeastern part is mentioned or the northern part of the country is mentioned, what we hear mostly is, you know, banditry, insecurity and all that. From your perspective, Moha, is this a good step towards unifying the country from your perspective, or is it just a game of, you know, gaining gaining support towards the 2027 elections?
Well, if you look at this issue, remember, this is the first Madaraka in history to be celebrated in the Northern Hemisphere. Mm-hmm. And for people who come from the Northern, I think it is a very huge milestone. I believe yesterday we celebrated Madaraka. That is something that has never been seen happening in the Northern Kenya. So I think the Gen Zs that are now growing up, they will be in a position to now witness history and be able to give a story that has never been there for their fathers to tell. The other thing is that the stadium was constructed. That is a huge milestone, because now a child from Banisa, the other parts of the northern Kenya, Garissa, we talk about Wajir, we talk about Isiolo. Now I think there's a very good center for sports. Being the stadium is going to be is there, and I believe there are a lot that the president is actually going to do. Talking about IDs, first of all, I would want to take this opportunity to congratulate the president. Myself, I do not come from the northern hemisphere of the country. I come from my border region, and it is not something that has been very easy. It was not easy for me to be able to get or to obtain an ID, despite having all the necessary and the required documents. That actually applied when I was trying to obtain a national passport. So in this case scenario, I think the government has got the government through the security agencies. Remember, we're talking about gaining access to an ID, gaining access to a passport. These are national documents. And it is not just a matter of just issuing out. I think the government has a very good procedure on making sure one is verified to be a citizen of this nation, a person born, a person who is very much a person who is very much viable to get those documents. So there are procedures that are kept in place, because someone can come from Ethiopia with false documents. So it is their responsibility to do the due diligence and confirm whether this person is actually a born and raised national. So before that, I think it is a good step. So in that, when it comes to that, I think congratulations to the president. And this is not something that is just happening in the northern Kenya. We have people from Bungoma. We have people from Kajiado. Kajiado is a border country. We have people from Narok. We have people from Migori. You understand? We have people from Tana River. You understand? So there are areas like Bungoma where they have to verify. So I think this is something that is going to give the people of northern Kenya an opportunity to be part and parcel and vision of the country moving forward.
All right. Yeah. What do you make of this?
First of all, I am a believer of inclusivity. I am a believer of unity. I'm a believer of oneness and love as a country. I do not believe in tribal division and hatred and intolerance and violence. And if I should put in my thoughts about it, it is a very good thing that actually the celebration was there in the northeastern part of Kenya. But again, let us also look at it from all perspectives. Honestly, that is a good thing and it should actually go on, but we must also understand it is also part of a strategy to woo the northern region to actually let them know they are now part of government. If you heard them clearly yesterday, they said they have now crowned him as their sultan. All right. So that is just part of politics, wing the northern region so that they can actually fail to be part of the government. And you see, we have to do that because you have had many say it is very cold outside the government, right? So definitely many would want to feel included. On the issue of the ID, I don't think that it should be something to be politicized. We actually need to have to look at our history as a country and why probably there had been such restrictions before. Because right now I can assure you the Kenyan passport has been watered down. It is no longer as strong as it used to be. There are countries we would go without visas, but now we are actually required to have them. Because if our borders become porous and we invite everyone in, whether terrorist or whoever, then definitely it means as a whole country, when like I do not want to mention some other African nations in here, but I know we know of some African citizens of some nations that have a very bad reputation worldwide because of what they do. So because we have a good reputation, especially because of our athletics, it has to be something that has to be guarded. It has to be something that as Kenyans we are proud of, that we know we are people who work hard, people of integrity, people who can actually help to build other nations when we are both outside our continent, outside and also in the larger part of the world. Yeah, so I think that is something that has to be looked at very carefully because there must have been a reason. And that is not to say that other people have to be treated more specially than others, but rather just due diligence being done to verify that actually these are the citizens of Kenya.
There's I'm always very, very keen to someone who is talking, or not talking ill, someone who is criticizing what the government is doing. You mentioned that there are things that should be done better. What exactly should the government be doing better? In what capacity? What should be changed? Exactly, the how part of it is what I want to understand.
The how part in terms of
protecting our identity, our passports, our IDs, before moving to other, before I hear some people saying that it's a systems problem. So what exactly should be done differently? Because this is something that has been going on.
I'm sure you're not new to Kenya and you've heard of the issues of probably some members being given passport and they belong to the RSF and all that. Do you think that is a very good image that we present our country in, especially? What about if our borders are porous and people are not checked to actually verify these are Kenyans, these are just people crossing over, coming to this side, probably getting our IDs, going back there, doing their recruitment of Kenyans back to the Al-Shabaab. Those are some of the things that the government actually has to ensure there is a system in place to verify. We are not saying that people who are from the northern side of Kenya are actually all that. In fact, I know very many of them who are friends, who are actually true patriotic Kenyans, all right? But we're just saying, because of how the situation has been on the northern part of Kenya, then due diligence needs to be done so that whoever is rightly Kenyan should actually be administered or acknowledged as a true Kenyan and avoid all these other issues to do with terrorism.
All right. Thank you. Now let's move a little bit to ODM politics. And the Daily Nation, page 10, they're talking of why faction chose to drop Linda Ground. That happened last week when Oburu said he will be defending his seat. Gladys also said she will be defending her seat. And what transpired over the weekend with their rally, notably some members missing. The Daily Nation are saying that there might be doom in ODM. We've seen several divisions in ODM. So what do you read from this recent occurrence?
Okay. The past event that happened, that was in Kisumu, it was to bring the people together as a community, as a nation, as for those who support the ODM party. It is always very important. You know, there are always speculations all over. And I believe the opponents, those who wish the ODM party very bad, and they have a very bad prayers, in regarding the division of the ODM party.
they're very much capable to spread unverified information. We have figures who were not there. Have very influential figures who happen not to be present in that event. But the question is, who even asked what, maybe are they sick or something? Or where are they? You understand? So let us not speculate issues that are not verified. Let them now come through their social pages. Let them have maybe a media press and tell the country that we were not present because of this and that. But let us not speculate issues. Remember, the ODM party is the biggest and the largest, the most beloved, the most iconic party in East and Central Africa.
Is it?
East and north of River Limpopo. I'm telling you. You should actually know that CCM is bigger. CCM is CCM. We are talking about Kenya. I am a Kenyan. I'm talking about matters touching on Kenyan politics. This is one of the parties that has stood firm, strong, vision-oriented, vouching for the interest, of the people. For how many years since its founding?
But do you actually realize why there are cracks in ODM, if I may ask?
See,
because the reality is...
Let him finish first.
You see, Baba is no longer present. And I believe as the supporters of the ODM party, they're still mourning. Remember, losing a father is not something easy to deal with. We have sisters in the party. We have elders, brothers in the party. We have uncles in the party. We have aunties and nieces in the party. You understand? As we stand as of today, the party leader is none other than youth representative, just as me, one Oburu Odinga, doctor. One thing that you need to understand, we have a party leader, and that is what stands. We need to listen to the party leader. You might say, this and that and that. No, let us be united. Let us be united, because you see, when your father passes away, there will be people who will now try to, take 1, 2, 3 things, the salt and sugar, and from there. That is not going to happen. I want to tell the masses that the ODM party is very strong, very firm, very vision-oriented, and come 2027, before the election, I think through the party leader and through the party structures, they're going to make a statement on the direction that they're going to take as a party. Until then, my friend, I believe, do not just read anything that is being sponsored by some rumor mongers. We don't need lie peddlers. All right, all right. So we need people who are very envisioned to reality and vision to verified information. Yeah.
What do you read of this? Because you see, before there was Linda Ground and Linda Monanchi, we still had the same narrative that ODM is united, ODM is strong, but there is a different story right now.
Actually, I need to begin by saying that I've been a member of ODM for the longest time, over 10 years of my life as a member of ODM. And we have to just be, true to ourselves and open, because the fact is that a house divided can never stand. And part of why probably there are cracks and divisions that everyone can see in the party is the fact that ODM has been known and has been a very strong party in this country for the last 20 years because of its ideals and values. And what is happening currently, and probably that is why they dropped the term Linda Ground, so that now we have Linda Mwananchi, is the fact that once those ideologies that have held this party for so long have started to be watered down, then definitely there will be a difference. But again, of course, it's because also of the power vacuum that is there in terms of, everybody is telling you, this is what Baba said, this is what Baba said. But when you look at the de facto leader who was there, that is our late Raila Amolo Odinga, may his soul rest in peace, is the fact that there is such a huge vacuum that he left. And so, of course, everyone is trying to struggle and see, can I be the one who influences things? But the reality is that ODM will still remain to be ODM if its values and ideologies are still represented, because it has been a party that is appealing to the masses because of its values and ideologies. And my friend is saying that the party is going to be strong, and I pray that is what happens. But is there an election that we ever wondered who is going to represent us for the presidency? Ever since ODM was incepted, it has never. Right now we are hearing of 2032, and that is not the ODM we have known of. And that is where the problem is.
It probably might not be 2032, because yesterday Farouk said that after President Ruto, the people from the Western region should also have their own candidate. Probably they'll be supported. Now, time is not on our side. I would love to go deeper into this conversation, but I'd just love to get your final remarks. Let me begin with you, Moha. What do you think is the current state of our nation? Are we moving on in the right direction? Are we moving on in the wrong direction? What should we be doing differently?
What I believe and what I would actually urge my fellow young youths, let us be sober. Let us think very soberly. Let us be very patient. Let us not jump into, narratives that have not, peddled narratives. Let us have an insight of what is actually happening. Let us be patient. Let us not be moved by, stories that are. Let us think first before we act. I believe information is power. And before we get a verified information that we can, okay, now this is the information that we have, it is verified, this is what the government is doing, this is what the opposition, like my brother just said, ODM is one of the longest party in the land, actually in Kenya. So it still stands with its values. And ODM will always be ODM despite who is now the party leader. So I believe as young people, let us stay guided. Let us stick to the vision. And with that, I think coming forward, we'll have a very good trajectory. Yeah.
All right. When you say stay guided, we think of different things.
No,
right. Now, that's very important, because you've mentioned as really understanding things rather than falling for propaganda.
Yeah.
To the young people of Kenya, I want to say this, that we are in a democratic country, and it is okay for us to have different opinions. But again, we also need to have political tolerance so that we can actually discuss on matters of the ideas and ideals that we have. It is very important. Number two, I think I want to challenge the young people of Kenya, because we need to shape the future of the country that you want. We actually need to shape the future and ensure that the youth become the center of Kenya's future, whether it is in government policy, whether it's in challenging failed systems that have been there, whether it's in having bodies that actually are going to fight for the dignity and for the future of the young people of Kenya. And that is why I actually urge young men and women that we have in our country to engage in those spaces, to be found in the scenes of action, to take the responsibility. Instead of escapism and blaming and calling others out, instead of us taking the responsibilities, let us be found in those spaces to make the change that we deserve. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. And you've just reiterated what I read earlier this morning, that the same way we supported PSG just because we didn't want Arsenal to win, the same way that we'll find ourselves voting leaders who we don't want just because we don't like the other party. So we should get our facts right. This has been the newspaper review. We're joined by Moha and Richard, who have been very insightful. There's so many reactions online. People saying they're watching live. Thanks for the great news. Locked in. So many appreciation from our online viewers. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again next week for, once again, another brilliant discussion on the state of the nation, youth perspective, and everything in between business. My name is Anyango, Sylvia. See you again next week.